Hi, Lynn from Lynn's Garden here in Port Orchard, Washington. And this is your Sunday walkabout. Lots have happened in the garden this week. First off, let's start over here. These are our bench swings. I put them in, oh golly, about 7-8 years ago. And they were cheap benches because that's all I could afford at the time. And they've rotted. And it's time to replace them. They are no longer safe to sit on. And as you can see, I'm missing one. Chandra did not take my advice. He thought he was going to be a real cutesy person and try and sit on one of them and see if they'd hold him. And guess what? It collapsed and he went on the ground and the wood went every which way. So I've taken that one down and gotten rid of the wood. And I went online. I found some that are made by the Amish. And they're special ordered. They make them up as you request them. And so I have 4 bench swings, heavy duty, coming, and they will be in a dark walnut stain. However, because it takes time to make them, they say they don't ship for at least 8 to 10 days. So we are waiting on that. I did that earlier in the week, so they should be in by the 4th of July, so maybe I'll have 4th of July people helping me put them up. Hello, Tiffany. Hello, Brad. So anyway, if I get them up, I get them up. If I don't, then I'm going to need some help with them. But anyway, they will look nice. And as I said, they're heavy duty. They hold up to 700 pounds. And they should be in the process of being made right now. Other stuff that's happened in the garden this week. You've seen yesterday I posted a little bit about getting this area weeded. This is my upper side garden. And it's looking good. It is all weeded. I got the blackberries out. It is good to go right now except for the raking. And as you are seeing in the video, hopefully you can see it, we've got wind. Last night we had one heck of a rainstorm and windstorm at 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's a good thing I didn't waste my time with the raking yesterday. I said, I'm done. I'm calling it quits. That's it. And as it is, I'm putting in, the least amount of time I'm putting in is about 4.5 hours. On a regular day, I put in 8 to 9. But with working around the rain, it is so hard. And I've got my lilies coming up here. And I believe those are all red. Or they could be yellow. I can't remember. Could be a mix. Got so many things in the garden. It is hard to remember. And I also clipped my Russian lady vine down once again because this is a constant weekly thing, if not every other day, so that the hummingbirds can get into their food in there. And Chandra wants to get away from the Nest cameras because they charge to record, and he is tired of paying. I think he's paying $60 a month. And so he ordered in a different camera, which I hope I'm going to like it. It will be able to do a rotating picture of the entire garden. So I should be able to rotate it from different angles, and that way people can get to see the pond and the birds, because right now all the stationary camera does is take a picture of the center of the yard. And there's much more to the yard than just the center. So what's going to happen is it's going to be mounted on a post right here on the corner of his shed. And I had to dig out some fully grown daylilies, which I will show you where I put them later. But that was a struggle because I still have a bad right shoulder that I'm trying to, I went in for x-rays and I'm trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with it. Feels like somebody's stabbing me with a knife. So it was a challenge getting the daylilies out, but they are out. And I moved the lighthouse that Tiffany gave me. And those are my other daylilies about ready to pop. And pan around to the pond here. And on the other side of the pond, and the pathway here, I've got my Birdbath planted. Everything is coming in beautifully. My yellow potentillas are blossoming a lot more this week. And they just look like a giant buttercup. So they're very pretty. And I don't know if you remember, but last year, in this spot over here where I have put the lighthouse for the time being, it's going to go back on the corner, but we have to get the post in and get the camera up, and then it'll go back over there. But this is where my beautiful Lavatera was last year. And in place of the Lavatera, I got a Midnight Marvel Hibiscus. And the leaves are kind of red and green and orangey. And it's supposed to have giant flowers and be a very fast grower. And also be suitable for our climate. So we'll see. And my climbing ivy is looking good. My hellebore is still going strong over there behind the azalea. And if it ever stops raining for a few days. So far we've had rain every single day. It usually starts in the late afternoon, and then it continues on through the night until about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And it is not good for roses. Roses like it hot, sunny, and dry, or else their buds get all brown and yucky when they come out. So this is my candy cane rose. And right now it is loaded with buds, but whether they're going to be pretty flowers or yucky ones, I have no clue. It will all depend upon Mother Nature. And everything is growing larger, it seems, than ever before. My Shasta daisies are about, probably a good 2 feet tall. They'll be blooming shortly. And over here by the pond, we have a new development this week. See if I can get in here, a little bit shaded from the sun. I have my purple clematis that started to bloom. And that is loaded with buds too. So that'll be very pretty as it comes out more and more each day. And behind the shed, behind my shed, I've got my hostas that are growing, and I've got my peas that are growing on the fence. Those are snap peas. So today would normally be a clean my my fountain filter. However, I was expecting a visitor and the visitor couldn't make it. So I did a little housework instead, which has to be done periodically because I have a husky. But our pollen count is very high still. Very, very high. And Scotch broom is still going crazy. So the fish are swimming in very yellow water. I have to flush it and clean the filter and just get it all restarted again. But that'll probably be tomorrow's chore if it's nice. If it's not nice, then it won't be tomorrow's chore. My white Roadie has to have its blossoms picked off because the rain has really beaten them down and smothered them. However, the red Roadie over behind it is going gangbusters, which it's nice to see. And by next week, hopefully, if it's not too terribly windy, wind is not a real friend to my poppies, but I do have some poppies in here that have all budded up and they're getting ready to go. So we'll see what the week brings. But it's been kind of disappointing with the weather being this nasty. I mean, now it's warm and I'm out walking around in shirt sleeves and everything, but it has not been a nice springtime. It's been wet and yucky. And you no sooner start to do stuff and it rains. And there is my white dogwood tree. And that is always looking good. Never disappoints me. And then I have a pink one down here that is just getting started with its bloom. And those blossoms will get larger and more pink, at least they did last year. And then we have another azalea down there, and looky there, we have a lupin. And the bee is going after the lupin. Now, I read up about lupins because they're kind of finicky. They usually will bloom one year and then totally disappear, and then their seeds propagate and you'll get them again possibly the next year or the year after that. So it's been 2 years in this area and I have not had lupins, but I did plant them originally here. And something's going after my hollyhocks. And I do have a couple of lupins in there that are coming up. And whether they'll be the same color or not, I don't know. Whoa, almost got buzzed by a hummingbird here. My Tequila Sunrise is starting to bud up. And that almost died on me. But it has perked up quite a bit. I had to transplant it last year because it was just way too close to the Hydrangea and my viburnum, and it just could not compete. And I've got some lilies in here. And the California lilac. And I don't know if this is going to make it for another season. It really had a hard winter, as did a lot of things. And it's had 3 branches die. And I've pruned them off, and we'll just see how much new growth it gets. If not, I may have to pop it out next year. And in which case, I'm not going to go with something so prickly. I will go with, probably another hibiscus or something along those lines. And that's my burning bush. And the burning bush has very itty bitty flowers to it. Don't even know if you can see them very well. But it does flower, and the bees do come to it. Once again, it's all about the bees. And my yellow climbing rose. Once again, it is not the right climate right now. It's too much water. I've got black spot, which I do not normally have. And it's just not looking good on some of my plants. So we'll just have to see how things fare. Back here I have a pink double rose that is starting to blossom up. And this one doesn't seem to be quite as affected with its blooms. But every single day, it's the wind and the rain. We just are not getting a break. But it's better than drought and not having water to drink. So we won't complain too much. And I don't know if you remember, but I did say how I had divided my fire and ice hostas last year. Well, guess what? Not enough. I will probably be dividing them again, either in the fall or in the spring. And they don't seem to mind being divided in the fall. And my hosta decided it was going to be a gorgeous tree this year. But most of my heavy-duty weeding is done. And I even got back here this week. I have a little patch under my lilacs to do where there's grass. But I did find my strawberries. And I found my rhubarb, and it's just about time to make that jelly. But I do have this little patch of grass here that I've got to weed out. But it's not really doing any harm to anything because it's only lilacs in there. And I got in here and I weeded and transplanted. And this is the area where my head is right now in that brown dirt. That is going to have a blue satin Rose of Sharon. It'll grow to be about 20 feet, which should be perfect because that's about how tall my butterfly bush is. And I think it'll look very pretty in here. So when my white dogwoods are done, I will have the Rose of Sharon blooming. But it is amazing how barren the garden looks, because most everything loses its leaves or dies back to the ground in the late fall. And then all of a sudden, it's like just within a few weeks, boom, everything is filled in. And these aren't weeds, folks. These are all flowering shrubs. I have forsythia back there. I've got red currant, a hydrangea, lemon balm, iberis, Japanese pyrrhus, roses all over the place. My purple peony, or I'm sorry, my purple anemone. And I'm getting lots of red rose buds. But once again, if we don't get that sunshine, they're not going to be very pretty. Let's see if we can get in there and see one. Come on. Very, very tiny. They need to be twice that size. But it is all budded up. Now we just need some sunny weather. And that bush back there next to the hosta is the hydrangea, and that is a blue one. And I did transplant a hosta back there, which is doing phenomenally well. That's a new transplant in there. And I've got some phlox and some Princess Spirea. Lots of Solomon seal, some columbines, some Japanese anemones, another red rose bush, and these are everbloom. I would not purchase one that was not an everbloom. Mine will bloom throughout the summer. And going down this way, we have my dinner plate rose, which is looking pretty poorly this year. I am going to have to get in there and prune the heck out of it. But it still has buds coming. The French lilac, another purple clematis, and these just came out yesterday. I was hoping that the rain wasn't going to make them all battered. And looking up this way, I have an upright fuchsia, an azalea. That's liatris, or purple feather, or gay feather. Up beyond that, we have mint, we've got hosta, we have a lily, we have anemones, and then we go into our lupin. And my peonies out here have not bloomed yet, but their buds are getting huge. So that is about it for the walk around from Lynn's garden. I may do a short one out front, but I did that pretty thoroughly when I did my tiki lights. But I do have some surprises. I did transplant some daylilies out there. So I will probably take some still photos and maybe add it to the video. Over and out from Lynn's Garden in Port Orchard, Washington. See you next week to see what's blooming.